Thanks for coming out and seeing me.
Yes, thank you.
I've heard you had a couple things going on at work that you want to talk about, and I want to hear what's going on and see if there's anything I can do to help you out.
Yeah, so the situation I wanted to speak with you about today was the situation where my manager a few weeks ago approached me about, not approached me, we had a one-on-one, and she mentioned that she was thinking that we should begin or continue the conversations of expanding my scope. Like
Okay.
to take on additional responsibilities and probably additional head count.
Okay.
Not necessarily for the functions that I do now within my team, but
Okay.
maybe some additional functions.
Okay. Okay. Great. First of all, before we start, just how's the EMBA program going for you?
It's going really well.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot, met a lot of good people, got an opportunity to hear some really great subjects from some great professors. I will say that I have a little over 2 months left,
So,
and
yeah.
I'm ready.
A new
I'm ready to be done.
responsibility could be taken on.
Yeah.
Okay, so go over. I know you just kind of gave me a brief synopsis, but kind of give me a rundown of what she's wanting from you. First of all, do you mind if I take notes? Just so
No.
we go through this. Okay.
No, not at all.
Give me a rundown of how she kind of approached you and what she's looking from you going forward with
So-
this new opportunity.
Yeah. So when I first started, when she recruited me to come to this role, the idea was always that I wouldn't do this same thing for forever.
Okay.
That eventually it would morph into something different, and with the idea I'd probably take on more
And
responsibility.
so that was brought up day one.
Yeah, even before day one.
Okay.
During the recruiting process, and it's been close to a year.
Okay.
Been close to a year at this point, and she mentioned during our next one-on-one that she wanted to continue to. That she mentioned that we should start considering expanding your scope to take on additional teams.
So
and
she brought the
responsibilities.
idea to you. You didn't bring it up to her.
I didn't.
Okay.
And I probably would have if it had been another 6 months, another year, something like that, without having this conversation based on
Yeah.
what my expectations were. But with school going on, there's no
Yeah.
way that I have time to really.
Now,
take on new.
was this something that was weighing on you heavily? Just a yes or no question, or it was something you're just kind of like, I could wait for school to end and then kind of bring it up.
Yeah, well, I haven't been given it a ton of thought.
Exactly. Okay.
I really
okay.
haven't.
Yeah. Not at this point. You got a couple things going on that set the goals and knock them down. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
So, just to restate the issue of or not issue, but the situation of what's going on is that your boss wants you to take on more departments, more divisions, kind of take on some more responsibilities and see what you can do with them.
Yeah, so that's the main thing, and I wasn't super clear, but I'm trying to decide at this point, how should I go about doing it? Should I just sit back and wait for her to have another conversation, or do I want to bring it up
Okay.
at this point? I don't know all right, so the subject came up, but what's the next step?
Okay.
Do I take the initiative, or I just sit back and wait for her?
Well, let's start there. Okay. So, what type of interactions do you have with her on a weekly basis, a daily basis?
So we exchanged some emails. We have one-on-ones scheduled every other week,
Okay.
but that we don't get them all the
Are those
time.
hour-long meetings?
Normally,
And they're usually pretty packed.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty packed. Sometimes we miss them though, so I'd say
Yeah,
maybe
'cause you travel.
I travel, she
Yeah.
travels. I'd say maybe every 3 weeks we'll meet
Okay.
face to face for an hour.
That's not a lot for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a lot, but I can tell you, I have difficulty meeting with my team more than actually. I don't meet with them face
Yeah.
to face to talk about one-on-one stuff. I mean, I deal with them all the time.
Gotcha.
But one-on-ones is kind of tough.
Okay.
More than once a month ish.
Okay. So since this has been brought back up, have you two discussed this on any occasion in a meeting or in any other atmosphere?
No. So it was probably 3-4 weeks ago that we had this discussion. It was really just a footnote. So our one-on-one, towards the end, that we got to start thinking about these kind of things. But I haven't I've given it some thought, and that's why I contacted you as well.
Okay.
Is that I've given it some thought, and I'm trying to decide what my next steps are. Like, what are my options for my next steps?
Right. Okay. So let me see. Has anybody else discussed this with you outside of her?
Nobody else has discussed it with me.
Okay.
It would just be her and I. It is really informal at this point. She doesn't have any plans in place. We have a really big event, like open enrollment.
Okay.
So we have open enrollment, which for most companies, it's not a huge event. But we're like technically our business unit is the second biggest employer in in the U.S. I don't know about the world, but we were going to do open enrollment for a workforce of 500,000 employees.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we have under our control 500,000 employees that we offer
Okay.
benefits to, and probably 300,000 of those are going to take us up on benefits, and that means we have to coordinate with 24, 25 insurance carriers enrollment information for
Right.
the second largest workforce in the U.S. It's a really big event, and it's
Yeah.
coming up on 6/1, and like that's her. She's in charge of health and wealth, which is benefits, and
Perfect time
I'm in
for
charge
school
of it.
ending. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect time. And I'm in charge of enrollments and eligibility, making sure that everybody who should be enrolled is enrolled. So we're both going to be really busy.
Now, not knowing your relationship with her very well, is there anything else you could do? It sounds like you guys get along well. Is there anything else you could do to build more trust with her, or do you think the relationship there is stable?
I think the relationship is I think the relationship is good. She was in charge of. She was like a VP of human resources over at a different business unit that I worked at. I was a manager of payroll, and she was like in charge of all of HR, and we would collaborate on certain things.
Okay.
And then
so
she moved over.
Were you guys equals at that
No,
point?
no.
Okay, she was okay. Gotcha.
She's in charge of like
Just to
the
make sure I
P&L.
understand.
She's in
Okay.
charge of like everything HR wise. When I say HR wise, not internal HR. That's our service, is human resources help and
Okay.
payroll help. And she was in charge of all of HR. I was a manager for a team, for like a region. And then she moved over to a new business unit, and she was the like market general manager for that business unit. And I kind of independently, or actually totally independently, moved over to a manager role for the new business unit, and we got to work even closer together.
Gotcha.
And then she
Okay.
moved to benefits, and when she had this open position, she's like, I'd like to work with you again. This is a position I have. Are you interested? So she's, at least in the past, and I think still, thinks highly of me.
Okay. So let me ask you something. Where do you think you are at with this situation right now? I mean, she brought it up. It's been a couple of weeks. That's very common in the workplace. Everyone gets busy. Where do you say you are with this situation? What are your next steps of approaching this with her?
It's not. So I do have a one-on-one this week that I think. I'm like 99% sure. Well, I can't say that high, but we're probably going to go through with this one because it's like a breakfast at 8:30. I don't think anything's going to come up at the last second. That's going to mean we can't like make this meeting.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to have that meeting, and I don't know. Like I'm trying to decide, should I bring it up, even though I'm not totally ready yet. 2, 3, 4 months I'll be ready when school's done. But I'm not quite ready yet. But do I take the initiative? I'm trying to think. Do I want to take the initiative to bring it up, or do I just wait for her to say something? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know at this point.
It's that's a tough one. I think the situation will present itself to you to do that. You know what I mean? I think you'll know.
Yeah.
And if the checks come and it hasn't been brought up yet, or if you guys are talking about it when the coffee's pouring, you'll have a better idea of how that's going to go.
Yeah, and as I talk through it, I do think it probably makes sense for me to think about it a little more, and for me to say something instead of wait for her to let her know.
Now, do you mean prepare some stuff for that meeting?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe
Okay.
I do a little additional brainstorming.
Come
and
with
say,
a couple ideas.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because there's
Now-
areas I'd be comfortable in, and there's areas that I wouldn't be comfortable in.
Now, I know you already have a pretty large workload there, and you're doing a lot. is this a realistic task for you? Is this something you could see yourself taking on? I mean, sometimes people get approached with an opportunity, and it could be something that they don't want to do. Is this something that you could see yourself wanting to do in the future?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. And you say in the future, and I'd say yes in the future.
Yeah.
In the really short term, no. But in the future, yes.
Yeah.
I think so. I would just have to make sure it's something that an area that I'm comfortable with, because right now, the team that I manage is way outside of anything that I've done in the past, and I know I'm not a subject matter expert on it.
Okay.
Well, know a lot more than I knew a year ago. But still, I could tell I'm never going to be the guy who knows the ins and outs as well as my team lead,
right,
as well as
yeah,
everybody else. So to take on another area where I don't know too much about it would be tough. But if it's something that I know a decent amount about, like how to run a service team, then I think that's realistic.
Okay. Now, let me ask you, besides the initial conversation, the breakfast you have set up on Thursday, has there been any other discussion about this? Have you tried anything to approach her or to, kind of solve this, let's call it a goal of, you get caught in the elevator with her or anything like that? Or has there been any situation like that yet? Or are you just kind of waiting for the most appropriate time, which makes sense to it's a big subject to sit and speak with her?
No, yeah, so I really haven't done too much at this point. Part of that's just because of bandwidth and school and everything going on. I just haven't had a ton of time to really consider anything else. I don't think I would consider doing anything else at ADP right now, because I do think that my business unit is one of the top performing at ADP. It's one of the better.
Okay, great.
And then also,
Yeah.
I think the management's really good.
Okay.
I see my manager is like a rising star that someday will probably be in charge of all of Total Source, and I mean, realistically, maybe she could be in charge of ADP at some point. I think that highly of her, and I think upper management thinks that highly of her. So being within her organization makes a ton of sense.
Now, have you thought of any options about approaching her? Just out of curiosity, it's come up before. Have you? I know how that could be. You don't talk about something for 3 weeks. Have you thought about anything about trying to maybe just plan a one-on-one meeting with her or anything like that? Or are you just kind of, her, the situation, you're waiting for the proper time?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really thought about options for discussing that with her. One thing I considered, although I've kind of thrown that out, is shoot her an email, because we don't have too many one-on-ones. But if I went that route, she has a very high D personality type, and that means she wants everything very straightforward to the point. She doesn't want a long drawn out email, and in order to talk about this, it would have to be a really long drawn out email. So I don't think I want to go that route. I think I want it to be face to face.
Okay.
Other option that I thought, if I wasn't going to do this, if I want to continue to grow within the department or within ADP, this is the way to go in my eyes. The only other option would be to totally leave ADP and venture off on my own. But I'm not there yet. I'd like to at some point, but I'm not there yet.
I hear you. Okay, so let's talk a couple short and long term options. I know you have the breakfast with her coming this Thursday. What would you like to accomplish there?
I think what I'd like to, as we've talked through this, I think I'd like to maybe present her with what I feel would make the most sense for me and my background. I think maybe if I control it, if I'm the one who brings something up, then maybe it'll be a more favorable result for me. Gotcha. So I don't want to push super hard because I'm not totally ready yet.
Yeah.
But I do want to continue the conversation because ultimately it's a good thing for me and my career long term.
Now, what do you see?
It'll be painful, but it's a good thing.
What do you see the long-term goal of this plan being? I
think
on executing it. Let's say on Thursday she says, let's start moving forward next week. I mean, I know that, or in a month or so, giving some time to think about it. I mean, what would, if you started thinking about your next steps, when someone gives you an idea like this or an opportunity, the brain starts thinking like what you do first. I mean, what would be a reasonable goal for yourself to meet for a project like this?
I think so. When she brings that up, I mean, my first thought is that I don't know how I'm going to be able to do it. Like time wise, it's going to be difficult, even once school's done, because it's always just a ton of work.
Yeah.
But I think I see as long term as it being a good thing for my career, looking to expand, because I've always managed just one team. This would be, and like technically my role is a director role, but it's one department. This would be managing like multiple managers, and I haven't done that yet. Like I manage team leads that kind of serve as like supervisors, managers, but this would be like additional managers that I would manage.
Okay.
So I think like if I want to continue to grow at ADP, it would be in managing teams and larger teams. And I do think that it's realistic for me to get to like a VP level. I don't want to kid myself and think I'm going to be CEO of ADP ever, but I do think it's possible to be at like a VP level or like some type of general manager for a business unit or something like that. It's a ways off, but this is a step in the right direction towards it.
Well, it sounds like you know what you want. You got a couple of reasonable goals set for yourself. Sounds like you have a couple of great opportunities coming up to meet those goals or to at least start discussing them. So what I would like to do is just set up a couple of follow-up times. Let's talk Friday after the breakfast, see how that goes, and then let's follow up again next week and just see, let's say Thursday doesn't come up, you approach her Monday, let's talk then again, and maybe we can brainstorm again on what you think you should do next.
Okay. That sounds great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
If anything else I can do, just let me know.
Awesome.
Okay. Thanks
a
very
lot.
much. Nice talking to you.
Okay.